Good evening. My name is Chris Dortch, and I'd like to welcome you to the Chattanooga Film Festival's closing night festivities. I'll say that again. I've been told I don't even need a microphone most of the time. We're going to turn your main up, dog. Okay, dog. Can you hear me now? All right. I've already told you who I am. You might have noticed by now that I'm not that Chris Dortch. I'm not the executive director of the Chattanooga Film Festival, but I'm proud to say that this year I've served as his assistant director. My primary task has been to take on some of my son's workload and keep him from going bonkers. And I'm happy to report that he says he's at least 24% more sane this year than he was a year ago. So progress has been made. My final job at this event is introducing my son tonight. So to do that, I'll start by telling you a cool little role reversal that's taken place since Chris became the driving force behind this great event. In my day job, I'm actually a writer that a few people who love sports have read over the years. And it used to be that people went up to my son and said, "Hey, isn't Chris Dortch your dad?" These days, people come up to me all the time and ask, "Hey, isn't Chris Dortch your son?" Invariably, when those conversations occur, someone asks me, how the heck could my boy have pulled off an event like the Chattanooga Film Festival, which we've all enjoyed these last 4 days, seemingly out of thin air? How could he have raised the money, recruited so many great people to help him, most on a volunteer basis? Clap for that. Made the relationships around the country and even the world to acquire the films and book the incredible guests who have come to take part. How could he do something that some people in this town said could never be done? The answer has much to do with a clunky VCR my wife and I bought when Chris was about 4 years old. The thing was so big, I think it took both of us to carry it in the house. On that VCR, my son watched Lady and the Tramp for the first time, and it was kind of cool because that was the first movie I can ever remember watching. Then came Never-Ending Story, Labyrinth, Legend, Tron, and the original Frankenstein, which may have kick-started his lifelong love of the horror genre. And there were many, many more, thousands more. It was fun to introduce Chris to movies I loved as a kid, especially science fiction classics such as the original War of the Worlds, and Them, and my all-time favorite film, American Graffiti. Before long, Chris fell in love with movies, and he knew that they would be an important part of who he was for the rest of his life. So when people ask me how the Chattanooga Film Festival came into being, I think back to that Gigantor VCR and the wide-eyed kid that literally wore it out, that's a true story, by watching films day after day. Today, that wide-eyed kid hasn't changed at all. Thus, the answer I give to those who ask me how Chris started this great event is simple. The dude loves movies like no one I've ever known. With that, it's my great pleasure to introduce to you the executive director of CFF, my son, that Chris Dortch II.
Hey, thank you guys. Yeah. Wow. So after those beautifully prepared pre-written statements, I'm about to just wing the hell out of it up here. So my apologies. I first want to thank the folks at EPB for helping present the awards with us tonight, and the amazing folks at UNFoundation for letting us put our money where our mouth is and give a little back to filmmakers and films that we love. But and also, I just want to say, everybody in this room, especially those of you wearing blue shirts that saddled up and did this with us, like I know you guys get very little out of this other than win those shirts and free movie tickets, and that just means the world to me. This started as a daydream. It's something that we hoped that we could make happen here, and something that we hope gets to happen every year. And you guys made that real, and that is more important in a lot of ways than what I do. It should be noted that I do still have that copy of Lady and the Tramp, and the shit still works. Another thing I wanted to do, because this other gentleman on the stage with us here, Mark Covino, is one of my favorite filmmakers and a guy that I've bonded with a lot about movies of all types. And I love it when I run into a filmmaker that has never lost the love of cinema and can still geek out about it and really just gets why it's important to love and celebrate movies. And I'd really love to bring Mark up for just a minute or two to talk about sort of this weekend and sort of why we think film festivals and independent films are important. So Mark Covino, I'd love to bring you up.
Jeez. I don't know how to follow that up. Thank you very much. It is true. I have become a really good friend of Chris ever since our film played here last year. I wasn't here last year. I wish I was, but I just want to say a little something about film festivals to the people of Chattanooga. As an independent filmmaker, these things are super important to us. It gives us a chance to show our films in cities like Chattanooga that might not get a chance to get a movie like mine, A Band Called Death, you know. And I just want you guys to know that as much as you can, please support this festival. It's a great film festival. It's got a lot of heart in it. I love these guys. I've been to nonstop film festivals all over the world, and there's probably 4 I can count on my hand that are run and take place in towns with people that I would probably consider family. And this is one of them. So I just want to thank the city of Chattanooga. Please. Please, as this festival goes on to be bigger and better as the years come on, tell your friends about it. Get everybody to come out and see these movies. Sometimes they might not think they might not like them until they see them, but just tell them, give it a shot. It's so much fun to come here. And to the filmmakers here, please go to these festivals, even the small ones. I know there are a lot of the bigger ones, but the smaller ones, they're even more important because the people come out and they love to interact with you, and it helps you promote your movie. So I just want to say thank you to everybody, the filmmakers and the people of Chattanooga, and Chris and his family, his amazing family. I'm going to get the fuck out of here now. Thank you.
It should also be noted at this time that as a way of saying thank you to all of you and as a way to make our comments seem that much more professional, there is an open bar this evening. So we would encourage you all to enjoy a cocktail. But before you get too heavy into the sauce, I would very much like to introduce Miss Melanie Silva from the UNFoundation, the incredible folks that, again, are helping us give out awards to filmmakers.
If I start sobbing, it is the fault of the movie White God. Here's to winging it. The UNFoundation is really honored to be a part of the film festival for our 2nd year. It really is the perfect platform for us to funnel our grants into the hands of artists directly, and ones that are picked, by peers in their field, and that's what we're all about. You can talk to us more later, but essentially we exist as a group of people that get together every month, and we give away up to $2,000 to someone trying to make our community better. And artists do that, teachers do that, all kinds of people do that, but this is such a unique opportunity for us. Whoever does win, you're awesome. Thank you for being creative and giving that to us to enjoy. We're here for you.
I also want to point out that when 4.5 years ago, it was really a very difficult thing to see an independent film in this town. There was a few things. Really tough to see a genre film, really tough to see a classic or anything obscure. The UNFoundation were one of the first groups that got behind us and let us do a small screening series of films. And at the time, we basically spent the money on like the duct tape and bubble gum that held our screenings together for the first few years. But it was really incredible to see some people kind of believe in what we were trying to attempt here. And so a huge thanks to you guys. It's a big honor. Without further ado, I really want to get into the awards this year. And last year, you know, we were just starting out and our awards were kind of simple. Our whole festival, our budget last year was about $60,000, which to put on a film festival really isn't very much. Again, there was a lot of yarn and bubble gum and duct tape and love and things like that. But this year we brought in an incredible artist, a gentleman named Matthew Dutton. And yeah, Matthew, for those of you who know him, not only one of the most talented local artists, but also the guy who works for Rock City, who's been restoring these incredible gnomes and these strange landscapes that have existed since the 1930s. And Matthew, he asked me how weird I wanted these awards on a scale from 1 to 10. And I was like, can the scale go higher than 10? And what we got are these incredible statues here that we're gonna, hopefully these are gonna be able to be carried on a plane if anybody's flying back. I'm not sure if they count as weapons or not, but we can ship them. It'll be fine. But first off, I wanted to give out the audience award, because to me that's one of the most important ones. All of you were handed ballots throughout the weekend. You all had the opportunity to weigh in on the films you loved and what impacted you. And last year, oh, all right, they're Velcroed. Awesome, good touch, nice touch. Well secured. But anyway, last year I kind of didn't know how my programming style, which I hope is, you know, offered a little bit of something for every one of you, no matter what you like to watch, was going to play in Chattanooga. And I was worried about not pulling punches and the types of films that I played. All of you in the audience responded by picking an absolutely wonderful film called Why Don't You Play in Hell as our audience award winner. And to me, that showed me right there that Chattanooga really is a town filled with cinephiles. This is a place where I don't have to pull my punches. This is a place where you guys get great art of all types. And that just means a lot to me. And the choice that you made this year, I feel like equally proves that. And that's why I'm extremely honored to present the audience award tonight to Mr. Bobcat Goldthwait's new film, Call Me Lucky. And I want to let you guys know that film premiered at Sundance this year, and Bobcat told us when he was sitting in the screening here in town that he got a little more emotional than he's gotten any other time that he saw the movie. It hit him in a way that it hadn't. And then during the Q&A, even more so, you guys asked some incredible questions. You got down to the heart of it, and you made him walk away from this festival loving it a little bit. And that means so much to us, that you guys are part of the experience that these incredible filmmakers have when they come here to be a part of this. And so again, big thanks to you, every one of you in the audience, every volunteer. I love you guys for that. You guys have amazing taste in film, and I hope to keep honoring you every year with the choices that we make at the festival. And so now let's give away some money, because that's cool. And there's big checks. And as a kid who grew up with Ed McMahon commercials on TV all the time, I've long wanted to caress a large check. And last year, I haven't done it since, so I'm really happy. Look at that. That's a huge check. But so next, I want to give out our Best Short Film Award. And the Best Short this year was absolutely a nightmare to choose, because there really wasn't anything we chose that we weren't kind of in love with. But there was one film in particular that almost every one of us who screen films and sort of weigh in on the choices, and my two shorts programmers, Brian Hennon and Brian Sinner, are in the room. They were instrumental in really helping put together these incredible short programs. And there was one that just deeply reminded us all of how much we loved Rod Serling in the original Twilight Zone. And it was made by a young man that sort of a one-man band. He's taught himself visual effects. There's pretty much no piece of gear that I don't think he can handle, and we were just blown away by his work and really blown away by this short. And I want to bring Graham up, and if he's here, for the short film Doppelganger, which we think is absolutely amazing. Graham, come on up. Yeah. I also want to point out that Graham has another co-filmmaker on this, Daniel Ray Hamby. I don't want to forget him.
Yeah, that's me.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm Daniel Hamby. Wow, this is really cool. This is a really cool piece. This is awesome. I have to thank Graham for helping me. He couldn't make it here tonight, which I bet he's regretting that right now. And then I have to thank my day job, Super Chief. They let me borrow all their gear, which is always really handy to have. And wow, this is just really amazing. Thank you to the Chattanooga Film Festival. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, so we got one more to give out, and I will make this mercifully brief because I should not be allowed in front of microphones if you haven't noticed already. But this year we invited a guest out that we really loved. He's a gentleman that made a movie with another gentleman. Both these guys are in the room tonight, and they made a movie that to us was one of the most inspiring things that we'd ever seen. And inspiring because it took a genre, which is in this case the zombie film, and sort of reinvented it for us and made us think about it in a whole different way. And then we found out how little money this film was put together for, and how gorgeously it was made, and how much love was put into it. And when we found out, we showed a film this year called Spring, which is an absolutely gorgeous movie, and I hope a lot of you went to see it. But this gentleman had a very small role in the film, and those 4 minutes you're on screen, man, just really light things up. And we were excited to bring you out, even for this 4-minute role, because we loved that. We loved your part in that. We loved The Battery, your film. And if you guys haven't seen The Battery, please go out and support this movie and buy this movie. But these two guys, we invited him out. He was just going to come out, or Jeremy was, and then they said, well, hey, we have this movie that we're trying to finish. It's not quite done, but you guys, it's brand new. We thought it would be rude if we didn't at least offer you a chance to show it. And so it was the only thing that we put on our roster this year, completely sight unseen. We had not seen it, and that could have gone very badly, guys. It could have. But the film played, we all got to sit in there and watch it, and it just charmed the hell out of us. It was amazing. And even though their first film was made for a budget of, if I get this wrong, guys, around $6,000, am I right? They took $1,500 for this second project, and they put one man on screen for the duration of this film, and that's Jeremy Gardner, who's sitting in here right now. And anyway, Jeremy just carried this movie. He made us laugh. He really made us fall in love with this flawed character that really does find redemption in those 82 minutes. And I just want to bring you guys up. And, since your film only cost $1,500, here's 2/3 of your budget back. Come on up, guys. Christian Stella and Jeremy Gardner.
This is absolutely ridiculous. Best feature film? Come on. Can you even, does it classify as feature film?
I believe it does.
It's just about the length of the movie. If it's over 70 minutes, I think you can call it a feature.
I always argued with him, we have to actually make sure it's over 70 minutes.
Yeah, we had to get it to that point. This is absurd, first of all. I'm just like, very, very quickly, I'm going to try to get this under wraps here. I randomly got a tweet that said, hey, what would it take to get you to the Chattanooga Film Festival? And I said, I don't know, a horse and buggy or a train or whatever you can get me there. Of course, I'd love to go to Tennessee. I'd love to go to a film festival. It's one of the most amazing experiences of my life has been not just making our first film, but being able to go to festivals and meet filmmakers like Justin and Aaron and Charles and I acted with Pat Healy yesterday. Like, what the hell is that all about? So of course I wanted to come here, and like he said, we had this thing in our back pocket sitting on a hard drive for a year because we couldn't afford to take the time off work to edit it. And we were getting a little bit closer, and I said, these guys have been so nice, like, maybe we should just see if they want to screen it. And then they were like, world fucking premiere. Yeah, we'll screen it if you say it's a world premiere. And they did, and we were so nervous. I was so much more nervous than I've ever been because I remember very recently I got a review that said, well, if you want to see a movie where a guy named Jeremy Gardner really loves himself, watch The Battery. And I replied to him, wait till you see my next movie. I just cut out the other guy. So I'm so happy. Christian and I stood on the side of that theater, off to the side, and we waited to see if any joke landed. And as soon as the audience started laughing, we were kicking and quietly like high-fiving. So I'm so happy. I'm gonna let Christian say something, but this is wonderful. Thank you, Chris. Thank you so much.
I want to say something. First, I'm going to actually make our women stand up because there are 5 people that made this movie. There are 5 people that made this movie, and 2 of them are right there. It's my wife Elise and Jeremy's girlfriend Kelly. And then I'm gonna tell a really quick story that could get me in a lot of trouble, and I don't care. We were when we gave you the world premiere. I had to kill myself, and I was like, "You don't have to play it. You really don't, because if he said no, then I wouldn't have to kill myself and finish the movie. Like I could actually have rested." But when we announced it, someone said to us, "That festival is really small. Why don't you save your world premiere?" And I was like, I can't imagine anybody who had been more hospitable to us than at the time. The only 2 people we had spoken to were Chris and Brian Center. They were so accommodating to us, and I said, like, fuck waiting for some mystical festival or whatever. We did that with the Battery. We did that. And no one was as hospitable to us as you guys have been. Like, seriously. I mean, this is just, I mean, there's an open bar right now, you know? This festival has been run absolutely incredible. And for the filmmakers, it has made us all feel special. And that's something that, like, you know, it didn't happen every time on the Battery. It happened a few times, but not as good as this, so.
Yeah, it's been wonderful, and yes, my ladies, of course, you had to call me out and make me look like an asshole for not calling out my ladies. My lovely girl, Kelly, who made Tex look as worse than I do right now. And yes, and just everybody, Chris and Chris's family, and Liz and Lindsay, and everybody's just been, Brian, of course, it's just been wonderful. Thank you so much, guys. And I actually feel like I have to let Christian keep this award, because everything else we won, I kept. So he gets the coolest one ever, unfortunately. Thank you. Oh, and that thing too. What?
Yes, the big check. Hey, one more thing I want to note. This gentleman right here, Christian Stella, one of the things we wanted to do this year for anybody that saw the film White God was bring a bunch of dogs in right after the movie ended and try to find a home for them. And this guy also had a good enough heart that he's taken one of those dogs from the Humane Society home with him. So that's pretty awesome, man. Again, from the bottom of our hearts, thank you for letting us do this, and I hope the city will let us come back again for another year. Until you kick us out, we're not going to stop doing this. So thanks to our sponsors, the Lyndhurst Foundation, Benwood Foundation, McKenzie Foundation, all of the foundations really believed in us this year. Thanks to the folks at EPB for helping this award ceremony happen tonight, and again, UNFoundation for letting us love up on our filmmakers a little more than we already were. Love you guys. Open bar. Have a good night.